Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are. Welcome to another episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Monday's episode, I must say. Today, Monday, the second day of October 2023. Welcome. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend and that you are all set for a productive week. So welcome to this episode, the Monday episode. I see a lot of students in the schoolyard last evening, and they were already in the yard early this morning waiting on the program. That's good. That's very encouraging. You know, we're going to be here to bring you the good news, the credible news, the news or the information that you need. And no matter what they do, they're doing all manner of things to stop us. We are going to be here to tell you what you need to know. So welcome to one and all. And you know the ritual by now. Share the live. Let people know that we're on, because I suspect that some of the students are still not attuned to the Monday program. Because remember, initially we should not have been here today, because we did say that we had a case, this chopped up fraud charge was scheduled to continue. It started last Monday. It was scheduled to continue today. But no, it's not continuing today. The magistrate indicated for some reason no case today. So it's going to be, it should continue the, next Monday, the 9th. So that is why we are here this morning to bring you the information. That is why we should share the life, share the life. Always encouraging to see so many students sleeping in the schoolyard. Some said notwithstanding the mosquitoes, they slept in the schoolyard because they wanted to make sure that as soon as the school doors were open, they were in class getting proper seats right up in front to get seats to hear what is going on. So sit back and relax, and we are going to be bringing you information as usual. You know, we always do our research to make sure you're told what you need to know. So share the live. My colleague, Mr. Conway, is already in the studio. You know, I want to make one correction as we start. People refer to us as co-accused. We're no longer co-accused. We are co-defendants, in that the matter that we are referring to, this trumped up conspiracy to commit fraud charge, it was instituted indictably, and then they asked for summary disposal. So, you know, if the charge is indictable, and you say you want to teach, if a charge against you is indictable, it means that a preliminary inquiry is going to be held unless they have people committal. And then if a prima facie case is established at the preliminary inquiry, then you're committed to stand trial at the High Court before a judge and jury. Now, if the charge is indictable, then you're referred to as an accused. You're an accused person. But in this case, where the charge filed indictable, but they asked a summary disposal, so the charge is now a summary charge before the magistrate to decide on it. So you're no longer an accused person, you are a defendant. So understand this thing clearly. You know, as I said, a lot of these police who are listening, including some of the senior ones, they don't understand these things. They don't understand. So we are here to teach you. The Administration of Justice Act 1978 allows that. Prior to 1978, or prior, we call it the AGA, prior to the AGA, if you were charged indictable, you, the accused person, had a say in whether the matter was to be disposed summarily or not. You could have said, no, I don't want no magistrate to determine this matter. I want to go to the judge and jury. And your wishes are to be taken into consideration. But since the Administration of Justice Act 1978, that is removed from the accused person. And the magistrate decides whether an application is made by the prosecutor, and of course, the lawyers can object. They have objected in many recent cases and said, no, we want to go judge and jury. But at the end of the day, the magistrate makes that decision as to whether summary disposal is to be granted. Because once summary disposal is granted now, then the defense have to do disclosure. That's the next subject we're going to go into. But I just want you to know. So no longer, do not refer to us any longer as co-accused, because you'll be wrong. We are co-defendants. It's a summary matter. And let me know, roll call is so important. When you see all of these people in the schoolyard, it is important for us to call the roll for people to know who are here. I noted some names that I can't recall seeing before, but we're going to go through. We're going to go through the call. And welcome, people. I see we have students from the UK, as usual, Barbados, and all around the Caribbean. Many students are on the program. And many people will tell you that they are unable to see the live, but they don't miss it in the evenings when they go home. And the YouTube will tell you that, because I can tell you how many persons are in the live. I can see it. And when you then check YouTube or you check Facebook later, you can see the amount of people who viewed and who watched the program. So welcome. And number one in the last night, and this is last night. Francis A was here last night at 10:04 p.m. Followed by George. George was there next, 10:40. He said, and look what he's saying. He said he's in the schoolyard. He said good night to Mr. Slow, Mr. Conway. He's in the schoolyard. And he plenty coconut husk. He's a real countryman. Yeah, coconut husk light to keep away make smoke to keep away the mosquitoes. Then we had Joan came in next. She was in the schoolyard too. And she walked with repellent. She didn't, of course, I guess she would have benefited from George's coconut husk smoke, but she had repellent. Then Mandela came in just at 11:51. He came in and he's telling you that when he went to the school, he met those others, Joan, George, and Francis. And then just after midnight, Melissa came in, and Rowan, who is a regular, came in at 12:53. JK came in very early, 3:50 this morning. Vernon followed him. Glenn followed. Glenn is from the UK. Welcome, Glenn. Welcome to class. Felisa is here. Original black man always here. Earl came in at 5:03 this morning. Maureen, Jacko from Georgia is here. Then we have Joan. Sean, for ex-sergeant, always present from New York. From New York, permission to fall in, permission granted. Denise came in. Natasha was here at 7:36. Lucius came in early as well. Then Sydney. Then we had Anthony. Then we had Wayne from the UK. Another UK student is here. Wayne Little from UK. Everett from the big state. Texas is in the house. Carville, my squaddy 9390 is in the house. Pito, 8152, always here. Brian is here. Princess from Lamar Springs, 6123, she's here. Malcolm, that is not, you don't happen the way, you know, Malcolm. Let me remind you that when you're absent from class, you just can't say good morning to all your back in class. You have to have an excuse from your parents or some doctor certificate as to why you were not in class for the past couple of weeks. So we're looking out for that. We're looking out for that. Then Como, 8218 came in at 8:28. Ingrid came next. Kevin, you see how many people we had in the class even before we went live? Duan, Glenford, John came in at 9:16. My squad mate, Gaston, all the way from Canada, came in. Then we have Ulrich. Ulrich don't miss a class. He's here. Marlin. Then the man Barlett all the way from Linden. All the way from Linden. Pamela, always here too. Pamela is here. Jean, Barbara, Patricia is in class. Then we have Maxine, my next squad mate, Doreen. Then what a coincidence. Look at this. After Doreen, immediately after is Sheila. And for those of you who don't know, Doreen, we are all squad mates. Doreen is W349. Sheila is W351. W350 disappeared off the scene very, very early. So they're 49 and 51. They are there. Then you have Courtney, Stian, Evelyn, Chilo is in class. 10:30. Hazel, Gordon from Canada, 6659 Gordon. Then we have Francis, and he says, normally tell you some Melanie, but this time he is in Queens, and he says he's going to be celebrating a birthday on Wednesday. I made a note of that to bring you up on Wednesday, but as you put it out there, I got to give you early birthday greetings for Wednesday. I remember it on Wednesday as well, Frank. You know, all the best, Francis. Then we have DJ Ice Rider. Then Ben, let's say he did not sleep in the schoolyard. He frightened mosquitoes. You frightened mosquitoes? You got to take precaution, my old soldier, take precaution. Corrine is in class. Tessa, as usual. Winston, my friend all the way from Jamaica, Dudley, is in class. Then we have Enric. I can't recall seeing Enric before. Welcome, welcome. And then when we went live, the first Facebooker was Lynette from Barbados. And then we had Danny, Danny, 9732. Danny came in. Well, he's came in on YouTube. Then we had Linda, Brenda, and all the other students. I mean, let's move on. Praise and thanks to the Almighty for allowing us to see this new day. What a beautiful day it is. Give thanks and praise for being in the land of the living. This is the day that the Lord has made. We should rejoice and be glad in it. Many people are not that fortunate. You have the news, sad news. Let me pull it up. Only we see 3 women crushed to death at Jawala, Brickdam, Region 7. And Region 7, for those of you who know, is Kayuni, Mazaruni. That is the Baltic area. The story is that they were working on a farm, and there was a storm, a sudden storm, which caused 3 to fall, and it killed 3 women and injured 4 others. I saw in a recent report that the injured persons were rushed to Georgetown for medical treatment. We want to wish those persons a speedy recovery and condolences to the friends, relatives of those deceased persons. Read the story. It's a very sad story. They are indigenous women working on a farm, and then you had this storm, and the tree fell and killed. They were in separate tents, but apparently the big tree fell and killed these 3 persons. And then we had a sad story where the Ministry of Labor is said to be probing the death of a 17-year-old youth. He fell from a building that was being constructed. That is at Bel Air Park, Workside. That's last Tuesday. Fell to his death. 17-year-old. Let me understand this, what we're saying. This is a 17-year-old working on a construction site. Fell to his death. I think he fell from the 3rd floor or something like that. 17-year-old people. Let that soak in. Another 17-year-old is working on a construction site and fell to his death. Not so long ago, we had on the Essequibo Coast a 13-year-old working on a truck and was killed. I note that in that matter, the DPP, we are advised an inquest must be held to determine that. Well, you see these construction workers all over the place on these elevated structures, no type of safety equipment and all of that. We don't have those type of rules and regulations and laws. So they're there, and he fell, and he's dead. What would happen? Somebody can say thoughts and prayers, and then that is basically it. I suspect that if you go during the year now, work is continuing on that site, but that is it. Very loose arrangement. Very loose. We have a Ministry of Labor supposed to be looking into these things, but I don't know what they're doing. Polari Joe, the minister, I don't know what is happening. So yes, you had that youth fell and died. And I want to, on the up your note, I want to wish belated birthday greetings to our boy Louis Crawford. Celebrated a birthday on the 30th of September, the last day of the month. Welcome to the club, Louis. And happy birthday to you, my brother. I know you're going to be either on the live, even though you don't comment, or you're going to see it later. We wish you all the best on your natal day. I want to also wish a countryman out of the UK, Mr. Nestor, Clive Nestor. He too is a regular. He lives in the UK, but he follows the program religiously. So, Clive, birthday greetings to you, belated birthday greetings to you as well. And moving on, let me bring in CC, and before I move any further. CC, my brother, welcome.
Thank you. I'm happy to be in the land of the living, to do God's work, and also to be with my co-defendant. And I must say congratulations to the West Indies women team on the world record. I thought it was a foregone conclusion after Australia put over 200. But then sometimes you gotta listen to your wife more. So sit down and watch West Indies win this match, And at the end of the match, I I'll sip of some wine that I had chilling out there. So congratulations to the West Indies team.
Yeah, congratulations indeed. And for the cricketers, I know a lot of cricketers here, Jakey and other guys, Jacko and all them, I know they're ardent cricket fans. To pick up from where Mr. Conway left off, for those of you who don't know, the West Indies women team is touring Australia. They went down in the first game and they were playing the second game. Australia batted first and made 212 runs. That T20 game, they made 212 of the 20 overs. I looked at the score and I said, things don't look too nice. And I must admit, I did not follow. But then I checked back the score later and saw they were, West Indies women were 100 and something for one or two. And I said, well, the girls are fighting. That is Matthews and Taylor. And then when I checked back, I was elated to see that they were able to chase down the 212. They made 213 off of 19.5 overs. And that is the highest score ever chased in a women's T20 game. The highest score. And let me give some figures. Ailey made, that Matthews made 132. She made off of 64 balls. She made 132 off of 64 at a strike rate of, our strike rate was 206.25. She was supporting, and she got wickets. I think she got 3 wickets as well. And no doubt, and it goes without saying, she was a player of the match. She was ably supported by Stephanie Taylor, who made 59 off 41 balls with 11 fours. And in Ailey's innings, she made 60. I said she had 24s and 5 sixes in the 132. 24s and 5 sixes. Magnificent performance. Magnificent. The thing now is about consistency. You have to make sure that when you play the other games, you maintain your consistency. And for the cricketers as well, just to let you know that the ICC 50 over World Cup has started. The warm-up games are being played. Well, I don't follow the warm-up games much because they don't mean anything. Warm-up game is a little scrubby. Nobody goes there and put any big effort into it because you don't want to go there and injure yourself. But the main thing starts with a game against England and New Zealand, and that would be, I think, Thursday. On Thursday, England and New Zealand tearing off, 4:30 in the morning for those of you who want to get up and see it. So yes, the World Cup is on. And the sad thing about that, as you will remember, that West Indies is not a part of that. We were eliminated. We were eliminated. So in the last 2 white ball world events, there's a T20 event and the 50 over, the ODI, we didn't make it. We did not make it. So we got to, even more reasons why you must celebrate the victory of these, the women. And moving on, CC, I have some issues here for us to discuss. Now, the first one I want to talk about, is this complaint. The people at Eccles, people living at Eccles, let me bring this to people's attention. They say here, the Eccles people, the people are at their wits' end. They're at their wits' end. There's some bar located, I think it's 3rd Avenue or somewhere there. And the people have been complaining that this bar attracts a lot of people who go there. The bar itself plays a lot of loud music all the time. They complain that from like about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, they can't have no rest right through to 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. A lot of noise. Gunshots have been heard in the area. People park the car, block up the place. Men urinating all over the place and so on. Several complaints have been made to the Providence police station, and they are complaining that they do not know what to do because people are not resolving this issue. They, according to the letter, they have petitioned. They said they wrote petition. I mean, in a formal petition submitted to the Guyana Revenue Authority, several residents expressed their grievances. This includes severe traffic congestion, distressing incidents of indecent exposure by bar patrons resorting to public areas such as road corners and resident fences to relieve themselves. Further, the residents have voiced their distress over the alarming sound of gunshots that erupts during bar brawls. I noted that the GRA did make a statement to say, well, they have nothing to do with this because the people have their license and the license are in force. But what happened to all the other agencies that they have written to? Further down in the thing, they say the residents have made an impassioned plea for immediate action to President Irfan Ali, Minister of Home Affairs Robeson Ben, Minister of Education Priya Manichan, Minister of Human Services Dr. Vidya Prasad, and the Commissioner of Police Acting Clifton Ikin. They have also appealed to Commander of Division Number 4B, Mahendra Singh, to address this pressing issue with the utmost urgency. Well, Singh is no longer there. They have the man who Ben Robeson Ben says is the best man. I think Ramana is there now. So nothing. And you know, some things about this public urination, frequent and complaints made. Nothing is being done, but they could charge David Patterson for public urination and exposing his genitals under the Sexual Offences Act. Are you telling me that this rule of law applies? You tell me that this is a place where all citizens are treated equally? There's another report coming out of the same area that following gunshots, the police went there and they were able to recover spent shells from the firearms that were discharged. And immediately it came to my mind that I was wondering if they are still maintaining a database, a ballistic database of all firearms that are licensed to other persons. I wonder if that has been done, because I know when I was in the force, and I think I had a lot to do with the starting of that program, all legal firearms, we had a ballistic database of them. So in that case, if it's a licensed firearm that was fired, you were able to pick up the casing that they recovered and do the check, and you were able to pinpoint who is a licensed owner of that particular firearm. We did that. I don't know if it goes on now. You have a lot of firearms, AR-15, a lot of shotguns, and all kind of weapons. I don't know if they are maintaining that ballistic database so that when empty casings are found at scenes of crimes, they can do a check to determine the license owner. And I know back in the day when we started that thing had resulted in a lot of these licensed firearm holders used to discharge a firearm out of the place that stopped. They used to go to these functions, these shows, and do a lot of madness. And it stopped because we had a way of tracking those persons. So, CC, your views on this disturbing Eccles incident that is being reported. I mean, it's a report, and one would expect that a report of that nature, where so many residents have come out, that people are gonna come together, they organize the people responsible, the police in particular, and try to bring some relief to the residents. CC, your views.
Yeah, let me start with the ballistics first, because for the longest while, I think years now, I haven't heard the police in any report collected spent shells and traced them to some firearm. Perhaps the firearms used are illegal, and if that is so, it is very, 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 it's a very uneasy situation where all those firearms used are illegal, or maybe the system not working anymore. Do we have ballistic experts checking to see whether this spent shell that you find here match with some licensed firearm? Something is wrong. Something is missing there somewhere along the line. And what's going on with our forensic lab? You know, and I don't know, but the disturbance that is going on there, it is alarming that police cannot take any positive or not take any positive action, because as long as the music is loud and continuous, police are entitled to take action. And for the matter, they don't have to wait for the report to me. Sending your police in the area. Police don't patrol the area. Police don't see the blockage of the road that's going on in the place there. And if the person complain to all those various entity and nothing is being done, huh? And as you actually mentioned, maybe if Miss David Patterson go there, maybe they might take action. The whole thing is very disturbing, and people want to rest in the night and early in the morning, and there's loud and continuous music going on all the time, and it should be dealt with the law. Well, perhaps and the best man is there. The best man there, Ramana is there. Perhaps maybe just like how he doesn't know his general powers of arrest, he doesn't know what offense or offenses that are being committed here. I hope that very shortly action will be taken. And then I also hope that the police get back to trying to trace the ballistics, the spent shell, trace it to some weapon that was licensed to somebody. And we don't have licensed weapons, well then God help us, because all those weapons there are illegal. Something is definitely wrong, Paul.
Yeah, something. If you have all of those firearms and the people claiming all those shots been fired from illegal firearms, then we're in serious trouble. And they did not mention the Environmental Protection Agency, but I believe they have a significant role to play in a matter like this, especially as it relates to the noise. Because as we said sometime last week, not what is noise? What is noise? I know the environmental protection agencies will have decibel meters that can measure the level of noise. And it is not, let me understand this, and this is where one would expect that the police will get to with the environmental protection agency and work together towards addressing this issue, where it is clear that if the residents are writing petitions, it is clear that they are going to be willing to give statements. And once they give statements, then let the matter go to court. The environmental protection agencies, who are, I suspect, the experts, can go and measure the noise, the loudness, and give. This thing should get to the court so that these people can get some relief from this noise. The fact that they have written to all these people and that they are complaining and nothing is being done is a troubling situation. It is troubling. And you don't have to guess. Somebody made a comment. You don't have to guess who those persons. If people go there and firing firearm willy-nilly, people making suggestions as to who they might be. And I have a strong suspicion as to who they might be as well. These are the people who believe that they are above the law. People who act and believe that they are above the law, and they are the ones who perhaps can call someone, or who the police are afraid to deal with. But we need to make sure, we need to highlight this thing so that some action is taken in this matter. It is unfair for those people to be suffering in the way they claim that they are suffering. And moving on, the next issue I have here, we haven't touched on this for some while, but the Fire Nation, we had over the past 2 weeks or so several fires. Perhaps the most noted one is the Princess Romana Hotel. They had this big show at the cricket stadium. Romana is next to the stadium. And in the midst of that, 13 persons had to be evacuated from, I think it was the 4th floor, where a fire broke out. And I think, according to the report, that hotel is now closed because of this fire that they had there. I mean, one of your major hotels, fire broke out in it. Fire. Then, apart from that fire, you had Eccles fire destroys, now this is the headline, Eccles fire destroys 2 houses, leaving 14 homeless. The cause has been determined to be fluctuating electricity supply. That was Friday gone. Fluctuating electricity supply has been determined to be the cause of that fire that left 14 persons homeless. I know they complained 2 houses, right? The 2 houses, the people are scathing in their remarks. God has said the fire service came long after, and then they had water issues and porous hoses and all this everything. That is what the resident claimed. And they said that at the fire service being there quicker, they might have been able to save the second house. 14 persons are homeless. And you think they finished there? They go on to have 4 homeless after fire wrecks Cane Grove, Micah House. That's around last week, Monday. 4 homeless, fire again. Then the other next fire, Metamezag House, destroyed by fire. That is around the 23rd. So it's a lot of fire taking place. A lot of fire. Everything, all of these areas, fire, police, prison, come under the Ministry of Home Affairs. ropes and bend. The man sour. Everything he touched turned to poop. Sour. So all of these things are taking place. And we made the comment some time ago that in the wake of the Maja fire, that it's time that you started some campaign to deal with these houses, equip them with perhaps smoke detector and all of these type of thing. It is time, spend some money to do that fire protection, fire prevention, and all of that. But nothing is happening. Nothing is happening. So you have that. See, MCC, this fire story, but it's fire. You want to say anything about all these fires that we're having? Fires.
Paul, I think you have said enough, and just one thing I don't want to not say I'm defending the fire service, but when the tank goes, the fire service goes there, the vehicle, it just has a limited amount of water, yeah. And if that when the water runs out and there's no hydrant or there is no other source of water, they will end up in a whole set of issues. But it's alarming that there's fire, and still more fire.
Fire, fire, and more fire. Calypso Rose sang years ago, fire in your wire. And lest we forget today, October the 2nd, is the second anniversary of the biggest fire in Georgetown in recent years. That's the Brickdam fire I'm referring to. It was on Saturday, the 2nd of October in the year 2021, that a piece of, what is that? Sponge, lighter, and a wire. That is what they said. The man who is charged, they said that they used a sponge, a wire, and a lighter to start this fire that burned down the whole Brickdam complex there. And I always remember that the very next day, the government, the president and them were talking about these intellectual authors. They were convinced that the fire at Brickdam had intellectual authors. They were pointing fingers to persons in the USA to say that they are responsible for this fire. And amazingly, the very next day, the Sunday morning, the heavy-duty machinery was in the compound clearing the debris. And even as the debris was being cleared, the president was making statement that they will seek international help to determine the cause of this fire. People, you think they're easy? This can't be real. This place burned down on Saturday, the 2nd of October 2021. Government was convinced that they had intellectual authors. They were pointing fingers to persons overseas as the persons behind this fire. Very next morning, in other words, less than 24 hours, they were clearing the debris of the fire, clearing all the debris, big front-end loader and trucks removing the debris. And even as the debris was being cleared, the president was making statement that he's going to seek international help to investigate this fire. And somebody asked this morning on Facebook if there was ever any report. And then the person reminded too that sometime shortly after, there was one at Ivlery too, where the Office of Professional Responsibility that joins the DPP chamber, he asked him a report. I said, well, they did say, well, I can't remember, but in terms of the Brickdam, they say it is arson, and the fire was caused by a prisoner who was able to put his hands on a piece of sponge, a wire, and a lighter, and he set the place afire. That is what was reported. I am making this thing up, I am not making it up. So, and I said, Brickdam, so many people, a lot of people have commented, old police who served there for a number of years. What a wonderful edifice that was, and went up just like that. 60, do you recall that conflagration Brickdam 2 years ago?
I remember when I went there the very day, and the next day, and I saw those debris being removed. And I always remember a piece of sponge, a wire, and a lighter. And what happened to that case? I have more than any disclosure. Well, again, to disclose because they must dump everything about the place. That the case has not even started. And then again, when you look at it, I don't think they will bother with that, because in their compilation of stats, arson is not a serious crime. So they treat it lightly. The wire the sponge, the lighter, you hold a brickdam burn down, and that is not a serious crime. So they just treat it like that, Paul.
Yeah. That and people are asking, it's a funny thing. These things come up and they die away. And 2 years after, no one can say what is what. The guy was charged. They claim at some stage that he had given a confession statement, I think. I can be wrong there, but I believe they had claimed that he had given a confession statement. And shortly after, the man said, no, he ain't responsible, no file, right? Or something, I think the guy named Green or something like that. And you ain't hear nothing. He was remanded. You don't know if he's still under remand. You don't know what has happened to that matter. That whole compound destroyed. It's only the westernmost building and the lockups that was left. All the other buildings in that compound destroyed. So many records destroyed. A lot of cases, a lot of pending cases would have gone overboard because the evidence would have been destroyed. I remember a particular case where a man was charged for using some nice instrument and they were encouraging him to plead guilty. And he said, no, I'm not pleading guilty. Let's go to trial. Only to discover when it came up, they had to actually withdraw because they say all the evidence was destroyed in the Brickdam fire. So many other, and they were supposed to have compiled files, compiled a record of all the document, all the files, rather, crime files that might have been gone up there. I don't know what has happened. They were to try and reconstruct some those that could have been reconstructed. I don't know what happened there. I know a lot of caution statements and all of those things would have gone up, and with those things gone up, that's it in those cases. But we have not, and that is one of the problems in this country. That is part of the problem. This thing happened 2 years down the road, nobody follows up. And there are other prominent cases that were highlighted, murder cases and other cases. You don't hear nothing. You do not hear anything about those cases. They just die a natural death. And perhaps sometime down the road, you're going to hear that the person walked free because for whatever reason, the person has walked free. Now, moving on from the fire, let's deal with some issues related to traffic. Because I want us just to focus on, for the remainder of this morning, perhaps on traffic. Because it continues. The madness on the road continues. And we have said changing personnel as they have done, and they're going to solve this problem because this problem is you're trying to change a lawless road culture. That is what you're trying to change. And the man who is squatting there had moved all the traffic heads. That was his way of dealing with the many fatal accidents. He rotated them, transferred all the heads of traffic in the police divisions. Then he instructed that policemen must line all the roads to prevent speeding. Well, it continued. So then they move the traffic chief, Dennis Stevens, and they bring Mahendra Prasad. Come out in a flash, charging people. I saw a report where they said recently how many persons were charged, 1,700 and something cases made. There's 1,738 cases made over the last weekend. That's what the traffic chief said. Not this last weekend, I think it's the one before. But let me tell you, making all of these cases is good. That is part of the solution. People who break the law should face the consequences. But just making cases, calling them number 1,738 and mean nothing to me and to other people who know what's going on. How many of those cases were ticket cases? How many of those cases were cases where people charged and paid the food court? It has been perhaps 2 weeks. How many of those, in case of the ticket cases, how many of those tickets were paid? And if they were not paid, how many are set to go to court and when? If it is that persons were charged and paid before the court, what is the outcome of those cases? Do we have magistrate trying traffic cases? So it's not just about saying, making cases. You're writing ticket, and if people are not paying the ticket, then you are wasting your time. You are wasting your time. In the meanwhile, over the past couple days, week or so, because we didn't speak about traffic accidents last week. Let me tell you what has happened in terms of fatal accidents over the past. You have a situation where it is reported that a man dies in an Albistown accident. That is last week, Monday. motorcyclist killed in an Albistown accident. Then following that, well, not follow, the next thing, I don't know if they're in sequential order. We had a laborer charged with LBI hit and run accident fatality. This accident took place on the 24th of September, where a man was killed on the LBI public road, and the driver drove away. They were able to get the driver discharged. Then we had one reported that the motorcyclist died after crashing into parked van this last week Sunday. Parked van crashing into Garnet Street. He crashed into a van and died. Then we had a Myconi. And this one, let me talk about this a bit. A Myconi truck driver dies after hit and run accident. That's just over a week ago. The car was found parked in some yard, and when they did the investigation, they discovered that the person who was supposed to, who's alleged to have been driving the vehicle at that time, and therefore that is the person suspected to have been involved in an accident, is overseas based, and the man gone. Man jumped on the plane and he has left the jurisdiction. I want to therefore find out from the Attorney General and the acting squatter whether they will make moves to have this man forced charged and extradited to face the consequences of his action. We should know, the public should know. Because the fact that a person who, I don't know if he's Guyanese, I suspect he's Guyanese, he comes to Guyana, he drives and he kills someone, he jumps on a plane and he gone outside. Don't tell me that that's the end of the matter. Could not be. Even though we have precedent where Ozzy Rogers assaulted a woman at Bard Settlement and jumped on a plane and gone, and that's done. That is finished. Ozzy Rogers is associated with the PVP. They're done. Now, this man who struck and killed this truck driver, jumped on a plane and perhaps gone to US or somewhere there, we must know what action you intend to take to make sure that this man come back to Ghana to face justice. We need to know that, and we need to ask that question. The relatives and all, the relatives of the deceased person and all should ask that and should demand that at least some statement be made as to what they intend to do to make sure that this thing just don't go down the drain like that. And then we come to the next matter, where they say fatal accident on Monday night at Avenue of the Republic and Regent Street. Some unidentified, it turned out to be some homeless person struck and killed by a truck. That's last week, Monday night. Then you had a case where, and this is a very sad case, this one, and all are sad, but this one touched me. A mother, right? Mother killed on her way to collect her son, canal number 2. When she was going to collect her son from school on an electric bike, she was struck and she was killed. So, poor little child, whoever she went to collect, I don't know what has become of him or what will become of him, but the mother gone. Then you had a case where a man 70 dies after being struck on the Agricola Public Road. Agricola Public Road, some man struck and killed there. That was sometime last week, I think it was. Then you had early yesterday morning, this thing I'm finishing. Early yesterday morning, a teen killed, 4 injured when the car in which they were traveling struck a utility pole at Nabaklis on the east coast of Demerara. Struck a pole on Nabaklis on the east coast of Demerara. So I want to find out, well, I'm going to deal with that a little later because there's a matter where the Attorney General is demanding on behalf of the state that the man who drove into the roundabout should pay $2.1 million. I'm going to deal with that in a short while. So I hope the same type of demands are going to be made from this man who broke this post, who drive into the utility post. I hope that demands are going to be made too. And let me move on to tell you. And then you had, of course, this is not a fatal accident, but you had a speeding ambulance slams into a car on the quarantine, and something wrong with this car, these ambulances on the quarantine. They're fetching, thieving, smuggled chicken. They're fetching drugs. Now they're driving with siren. And this case, if you really read the case, is a case where the ambulance driver just blazing and just decided because he has siren on, he has the right to wait. And I have said, I don't know what training these people go through. Policemen and others who drive emergency vehicles. I don't know what training they go through. The first thing, it is very disturbing to me to see police vehicles driving around all over, always with flashing lights. I don't know why. That's an emergency light. It should not be used unless there's an emergency. Then they get a flashing light on, they pull up to some traffic light and they stop at the traffic light and the emergency light going. The rubbish nonsense. So much so I said an overseas based man who is in a vehicle being driven by someone else, a Guyanese, had to inquire from the Guyanese, why are we being pulled over? And the guy said, pull over. Well, he said, yeah, look, the police behind us and the lights are flashing. The man said, well, there's a man. Because he knows that if you are driving in the States, or I know the States, I drive in New York, I can tell you that, and you see the lights, you got to pull over because it's you that pulling over. Once you hear police pull up behind you and you see the lights and you hear the little siren, you got to pull over. You have to, but there are not, just light is Christmas time, so flashing light all the time. So I don't know what type of training, because let me say this, the fact that you have on emergency siren and flashing light does not just give you the authority to just blow through intersections and blow through traffic lights. No, you still have to approach with caution. If you approach a traffic light and the light is red, the law is you have to approach with caution. Not because you have on siren and the light flashing, you can just blow through. No, sir. They have case laws on that. You have to approach intersections with caution. So I will hope that people are being taught. I suspect they are not. And then we move to the next one that I alluded to earlier. We had the accident where the no, but before I go to that, let me show you a couple clips. Let me show you at least one clip and to see why we are in this problem that we have. Where is it? No, well, let me show you a few clips. This one here.
Look.
Hold on, where is
Look, sir. Go quick, go down. Hold fast, jump over there. Go quick. Go down.
Let's just sit down.
Let's just sit down. I want to get run him. Come on, this is chair for you. But don't show what's your stomach. Hey, te cabe só no banho, pô.
That is an accident on Saturday on Church Avenue. I'm not sure the details, but it appears only one vehicle. I don't know what took place, but that is an accident on Church Avenue. And then let me show you this one. And let me show you this.
Oh, I know something, buddy. Them man is supposed to cover this truck with the tarpaulin before when driving a sand on the road. Watch what the man doing here. Watch what this next one doing. Overtaking. Watch what going on here. Watch what going on here. Watch. The car man have to pull off the road, buddy. Watch what going on here. Watch. Car man have to pull off the road. You see that? This is what going on with them truck this Spanish road. And a man just powering through the end and stop, This one, he open up, all the sun showing fly off the truck now.
Sun, a truck uncovered, sun blowing all over the place. And look at that one overtook there. The oncoming car had to come out the way. So no wonder you have all of these things. And one wonders many times whether patrols are not there to deal with these people. Let me show you the next one. Long. So the point I'm trying to get over, and I'm sure that you understand, there are too many accidents. And by just issuing tickets and so on, that is not going to solve the problem, I don't think. This thing is a cultural change. We're trying to change a culture of lawlessness. And as I've said before, this is not only about the truck drivers and the minibus drivers, all category of road users. You watch pedestrian, you have pedestrian crossing and nobody will use the pedestrian crossing. People driving, telephones, distraction all the time. No seat belts being worn. Motorcyclists driving around, no safety helmets. And that is what you have. People driving, failing to keep to the left or near side of the road. Policemen are right there, and they don't intervene to advise these people to make sure that they do the right thing or charge them because they're breaking the law. That is what you have to do. You need to address all of the issues in a very comprehensive way. And the one that really bothers me, I'm going to show you, I'm going to talk about this one now. The one that really bothers me is this New Amsterdam incident. There's an incident in New Amsterdam where a driver, let me show you the still photograph first. Let me show you the photograph of this driver. It's not very clear, but at least you're going to see what I'm talking about. Look, what you're seeing there is a driver struck a traffic ramp, and the traffic ramp is there on the bonnet of the vehicle. And the story is that the driver was parked in a position causing obstruction of the traffic ramp, went to him. He became very enraged, drove the vehicle on the traffic ramp, and then drove away. It says that he's arrested, charged, I think, with 12 different offenses. And the man is released on a bail in the sum of $145,000. Yeah, $145,000 bail. Man drive on a traffic ramp. Drive his vehicle on the traffic ramp. He's charged with 12 offenses, including dangerous driving. And he is released on bail. And in the case of this roundabout man that I'm going to talk to you about later, who drove him to the roundabout, he's remanded. So a man drove into the roundabout, he damaged the fountain and all of that, charged with dangerous driving. They said that one of the passengers is still in hospital. He is remanded to prison. And a man who drove his vehicle on a uniform traffic ramp, causing some injury to him, he is put on $145,000 bail on 12 traffic offenses. Are we really serious? Are we really, really serious and want to deal with these matters as we should? The man is released on arbitrary. The man is released on $145,000 bail. And I have said the man who crashed in to the fountain, the roundabout, by Argenbosch, he is remanded, and that is the next joke. We're gonna. I have to engage my colleague, Mr. Conway, to deal with that, because here what happened. Let me tell you the sequence of events as I think it. This man drove in to the roundabout. We showed the video some time ago. He drove in, dangerous driving, it would appear, of course, drove into the roundabout, damaged the fountain, right? Now, this is set to have occurred, I think it's the 15th of September. Set to have occurred on the 15th of September. Shortly thereafter, around the 20th of September, the Attorney General wrote to this man a letter making a demand that he, well, the thing was repaired to the tune of $2.1 million, according to what the Attorney General is saying. And here what it says, as a result of your reckless, dangerous, and negligent driving, as well as your complete disregard for other road users, you caused damage to the water fountain and other parts of the roundabout and injuries to yourself and passengers, namely, call the two names, both of whom were rendered unconscious resulting from the impact of the collision of your motor vehicle, normal stated in the roundabout. And then it goes on to say, the letter is making a demand of him that he should pay $2.1 million. That is the cost of the emergency repairs to the damage caused by the collision. And a demand that he pay the sum within 14 days. It cautions that failure to pay the amount named will result in legal proceedings being instituted against you for recovery of the amount. So again, let me get the dates. This accident occurred on around the 15th of September. The Attorney General of Guyana dispatched a letter to this man on the 20th of September, within a week. And would you realize the man ain't charged yet? The man was not charged yet. He was charged after. He went to court, 3 charges. Let me look. When I saw this thing, I had to laugh. He's charged 3 charges. The thing says that he appeared before the magistrate in relation to the traffic offenses, which are dangerous driving, driving an uncertified motor vehicle, and driving an uninsured motor vehicle. According to the police, hear this part. According to the police, he was remanded on the count of dangerous driving, as one of the persons involved in the accident is still hospitalized at the Georgetown Hospital. He was granted bail on the other traffic matters in the sum of $50,000. The matters are adjourned until October the 9th. So, CC, come and tell me how this will work, man, before I go any further. Tell me, if this man is remanded, 3 charges, he's remanded on one, the dangerous driving charge, but he's put on bail on the other 2. So how this going to work, by? I really can't understand how this will work. Tell me how this will work. So what? You post the bail or you can take the remand? What really going on here? Help me out, CC.
I can't help you there, buddy. I can't help you with the one at all because, you can't be remanded on one and then put on bail on the 2. It's total nonsense. Total nonsense. Or my son used to say, nonsensical nonsense. And then here's it, the Attorney General with breakneck speed. Couple days after, there is a letter demanding $2.something million. I agree. If persons damage government property, we have no problem with that. But you charge me with dangerous driving, and then at the same time you charge me with malicious damage to property. It doesn't fit in at all. And the thing is that, okay, I agree, government property you're damaging, so you're making effort to get back some of the money, or as the case may be. But then, talk for rain and talk for sun. What good for the goose, good for the gander. There are many persons in this country, included retired senior police officers, who have taken the government to court and won their matter, and the government has not paid a cent. It's the same Attorney General has not put systems in place so the persons could get their money that the court ordered. Many cases. And they're rushing. I'm not holding no brief for no opposition, but they're rushing with the opposition people who have been ordered by the court to pay up some money, and they're hustling to levy on the property, to garnish their accounts, and a whole set of things to recover the money. But when they go on the other side of the boots now, lo and behold, they're making no effort or putting no systems in place. They're humbugging the process so that the persons can get their money. Animal farm at work all the time.
You know what bothers me with this? Again, I have said that persons who damage government property, drivers and other persons, should be made to pay not only if you are charged or fined, compensate. You got to pay for the damages that the damage that you caused. I am totally agreement with that. When I was the traffic chief some years ago, and the Attorney General then was Bernard DeSantis, we had that discussion that people who damage traffic lights and crash into electricity poles and all of this everything, we have to initiate a process for them to pay. But there's something that is called presumption of innocence. I'm sure the Attorney General knows that. Even this man, Humphrey, who crashed into this roundabout, damaging this fountain, he is presumed innocent. That is the rule until proven guilty. You have to find him guilty, and then once you find him guilty, then the system have to kick in. But how can you be demanding compensation from this man, demanded charge, demanded convicted of any offense? I guess you can make the demand, and out of the goodness and the kindness of his heart, he can pay. But when you say within 14 days, there's bullying. There is bullying. You have to go through some proper process to get the money from this man if you want the thing. So what happens therefore? This man is now charged for dangerous driving and two other offenses. Well, dangerous driving in particular, because the uninsured and uncertified vehicle is a different thing. Let's assume, for argument's sake, that he's found not guilty for whatever reason. Let's assume he's found not guilty. What happens then? I suspect you have to then initiate some civil proceedings to recover this money. What happens if the man found guilty? Let's say, for example, the man is able to prove, well, the man wasn't dangerous. He had some medical emergency or something. All of these are considerations. And to hear the Attorney General is jumping a couple of days after with breakneck speed, as my colleague is saying, to demand that this man pay and threaten that if you don't pay within 14 days, what is going to happen? This is not a real place. This is not a real place. Again, I said all those persons should be made to pay, but you have to go through a proper process. And I don't think the process employed by the AG can be described as a proper process where a day or two after you're making these demands of this man. And not only the demand was made in breakneck speed, even the repairs were done in breakneck speed. So you tell the man that this is $2.1 million. Let me assume that he wants to pay $2.1 million. What verification process there is? He must accept your figure as is. Will he just accept your figure? So all of these are things that we have to consider. So let me understand this thing clearly. All of these things we have to consider, right? And let me move on to say, and you know, the madness on the road, as we are saying, I should not have been shocked, but somehow I was. When it was reported that the president of Guyana has ordered ministers of government and other senior government functionaries to remove the sirens and the emergency lights on the vehicle. So you had a situation where government ministers and other senior government functionaries are breaking the law. That is what it amounts to. They are breaking the law. And the president himself had to intervene to tell them to stop breaking the law. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? And you want to know why we are so lawless, why we have all these accidents and all of that? Civilian vehicles with siren and flashing lights until now are going away. People who poses as journalists, businessmen, all of these people have sirens and flashing light. You must move out of the way for them to pass. Right? That is what is going on. And the fact, as I say again, the fact that the president felt compelled to instruct his ministers and senior government functionaries to remove these illegal devices from their vehicles, that tells us a story. It tells me a story. Sisi? Hold on. Yeah, Sisi.
Yeah, that's true. But let me get back a little bit more to this traffic situation and in your earlier remarks. The new traffic chief jump off the block and making a lot of cases. He's concentrating heavily or maybe mainly on enforcement. A lot of cases, 1,000 something in 3 days, 500 and something in 1 day. That is only part of the solution. We mentioned over and over again that there must be an holistic approach towards this madness on our road. There must be an holistic approach. There's no silver bullet. There's no one-shot solution. There's no quick fix. It will take some time, but it got to be holistic. And we said over and over again, they're missing a critical issue, and that is the elephant in the room, the 6C corruption. People getting their license too easily. People getting their license and they never even sit down, bang a vehicle and drive. We know about the theory, and the theory, we can get it online. But what they do, they give Zara the authority to conduct that theory. They had cops in faith, and perhaps they lose faith in the cops in faith, and they give Zaro, perhaps because Zaro built computer centers across the country. You must thank them for that. But they're doing the theoretical part of the examination, and there's no checks and balances in Zaro. Zaro and the Angels, there's no anti-corruption exercise being done. There's no integrity testing being done to see whether Zara is doing it or not. They're talking about computer, but there's something called computer fraud. They're not checking on that. They're not checking it. And also, if you look at the practical examinations, Paul, I did my own little survey, and I see the police doing the practical in Coffee Square. Very few people doing it. But if you go to GRA, if you see them among the people with competence trying to get a license, and it's the police issuing competence, very few people doing the practical. But when you go to GRA, you go to GRA, Borbisi, you go to GRA at a location, Georgetown was yet a whole set of people flocking there, and very little practical examination is being done. So persons are still getting their license illegally, and those persons are the drivers, and it's them committing the offense. So I'm saying that this thing here got to be data driven. The traffic situation has got to be data driven. I'm talking about 3D. Data driven decisions. I said earlier that they should establish what we call an integrated traffic information system, where all the information comes to one base, unlike what they were doing during Clementori time, when we were doing the crime stats, and the crime stats was the analysis being done at the Ministry of Home Affairs, and where they give you medicinally. It must be different with traffic situation, that you must have the information, and you must have real-time information so that you can use your human and other resources to deal with that situation. So what the traffic chief is doing, yes, it's good that he's locking up people. But then, are the cases being tried as you asked, Paul? Yeah? Let's look at the traffic situation, the traffic ticket situation. The police issue a ticket. They say, within 14 days, you go to this magistrate court and you pay the fine, or you appear in court on X date. Police check, the fine wasn't paid, if they check at all. Then they prepare a magisterial jacket that goes before the magistrate. The case is called up. The defendant, if he doesn't appear, the magistrate will set a day for trial. If he doesn't turn up for trial, they do what they call ex parte trial, where The police has got to go in the witness box and give the evidence to convict the person, not because he ain't torn up he's guilty. The police has got to go there, and they used to get ex parte trial. We used to get now and again traffic magistrate. The last one I know about is Magistrate Swan in the Jarchung Magistrates Court. The magistrates, they are not doing ex parte trial. You used to set aside an afternoon or a whole day, a whole afternoon to do ex parte trial. So all the tickets in limbo, issuing the tickets. And if you do ex parte trial, the person is found guilty, you issue a warrant for him. Those things don't happen now. So you're clogging up the magistrates court. We got a Judicial Service Commission was recently established. We in here when they appoint a magistrate. And you need traffic magistrates. No magistrate is being appointed since the Judicial Service Commission came into force or was activated. So the whole thing is a holistic approach. The police, the magistrate, everybody got a thing. And I'm saying over and over again, the divisional commanders got to be involved in this traffic situation. The divisional commanders, don't leave it on the traffic chief. They got to be involved. The general duty policing. Stop a general duty police and ask, hey, when last you made a traffic offense? And you go, no. And this whole thing is about behavior. Behavior is critical. The police got to understand behavior, and not only behavior of the criminals. They got to understand their own behavior. The behavior of the superiors, the behavior of the peers, the behavior of the subordinates. Behavior is critical. That's why I've said over and over again, there must be a behavioral science unit established in the Guyana Police Force, a behavioral science unit where they will have early warnings and they could take action. And you watch what's going on. Man driving with police in the bonnet. Man driving with police in the bonnet. People beating up traffic men. And all sorts of things happen. That the police has got to be trained to deal with conflict resolution, to deal with anger management. We deal with effectively dealing with people. We deal with effective investigation. Things like emotional intelligence, self-esteem. All those things has got to be embedded in the police because behavior is critical. The lawlessness that's going on the road there is behavior. And the police has got to enforce, and in enforce, they got to, how do you resolve conflict? You resolve conflict through the barrel of a gun. You resolve conflict by beating up people. Conflict resolution, anger management, effectively dealing with people, are repeating self-esteem, emotional intelligence. All these things has got to be embedded in people more so or traffic ranks who has to deal with the lawlessness on our roads. So I'm saying that this thing calls for holistic approach, not only making cases. And if you're making cases, you have to get the support of the court. And we need more magistrates. We need more traffic cases being tried. We need more ex parte trial. And not only ex parte trial, when the warrants come out, we need to execute the warrants. Fair got to be the key. I remember reading Alistair McLean book, Fair is the Key. And I think looking at, I think that a picture on it, fair is the key. And the fear isn't there. When man beat up police, when man drive with police on the bonnet, and then the magistrate putting them on bail. Nonsense.
Nonsense indeed. A man drive away the police, $145,000 bail and 12 charges, and a man break down the fountain or the roundabout, this vanity thing, remanded to prison. So that's what we have. In terms of, when you look at, going back to the same emergency lights and siren and so on, you remember the minister made a statement sometime earlier this year that he's going to look to tweak, that's the Minister of Home Affairs, look to tweak the law. He's going to tweak the law for allow for diplomats and certain other people to get to use sirens and flashing lights. So that was his answer to the issue. That was his answer to the issue. Now, the next thing that I saw them doing is clamping vehicles. I spoke about it before. I don't know if the new traffic chief is aware. I said, I don't believe, because I did the research, there is no law which allows for the clamping of vehicles. Let's understand this clearly. I can find no law in Guyana which allows or authorizes the police to clamp vehicles. What the law says that if a vehicle is in a position causing obstruction, then that vehicle can be removed, can be towed away. You're permitted to do that. But then, and again, if a vehicle is causing obstruction, clamping the vehicle would not solve the problem. If the vehicle is there causing obstruction, you want the vehicle to be removed to ease the obstruction and the congestion. So what you have to invest in is tow trucks, tow vehicles. I don't know if the police has any of this type of vehicle, but you gotta get tow vehicle. So on a vehicle park and blocking up the traffic, rather than clamping it and continue the problem remains, you tow the vehicle away. The law provides for that. I don't know that the law provides the clamping, so you guys have to make sure that you research and you do the right thing. And if you got to get the Attorney General's chambers to deal with that from the legal aspect, then we got to do. So rather than the minister tweaking the law to allow for siren and flashing lights to be used by diplomats and other senior functionaries, you should tweak the law to ensure that clamping of vehicles that are in certain positions are allowed. So let's understand this. And then, as I said before, when you had the issue some months ago, the squatter decided that the way to deal with this is to remove all people, all the ranks change. They call it transfers or rotation of all the traffickers. The madness has continued. So when they're going to rotate again, they have now rotated the traffic chief. Oh, we don't want the carnage to continue. But if it continues, what are you going to do? You're going to rotate again? That is your solution. But hear this. I have been saying over and over that what you need are education, signage, infomercials, and all of these type of things. You need these type of things. And here what we have. Let me show you what we have. Let me show you what we have. This is the traffic sign that we have. This is the traffic sign. Can you imagine this? Not a single sign have I seen or infomercial telling people how to use the road. But you have a big Respect the Road campaign, and look what a big photograph of the squatter in the chair. Respect the road, slow down, drive cautiously. You have outlines there. And then it's a statement to the left, which you can make out. And the man is there as Mr. Clifton Aiken, Commissioner of Police. Well, Sean, you're right. This should be in Spanish too. This sign should be in Spanish. But this is a narcissistic behavior that you have. And that is why you can't get any place. Because people are dying on the road literally almost every day. Instead of embarking, spending money to get education and all that, man, get big billboard with the picture. Never seen before. Big billboard with the picture. I wonder how much money was used. And I understand there's more than one. I was told that there's one by the Kitty roundabout there, where the pump station is, right at the end of Carifesta Avenue. There is one there. And I understand that there might be others around. You're spending money to make a billboard like this, when the same money can be used to driver's education, get flyers and all these type of things to try to educate people and that. And just to show these people are clueless, not so long ago, they had an arrangement where to deal with the traffic, they built ladder. Can you remember that? So I remember seeing a picture of a ladder at Avenue Republic and Brickdam where the policemen had to climb up on this ladder to direct traffic. Gotta say, well, the policemen got to be elevated to be able to direct the traffic. Yeah, you want nonsense. And I even make a joke. I say, can you imagine them wicked minibus men playing chapters with the ladder? In other words, if you're younger, you know which chapters. You're driving close by. Forget the policemen are scared. That is what you have. And that is why the problem will continue. That is why the problem will continue. Because people are about themselves. This is narcissistic behavior. This man putting the picture up on billboard around the country to talk about respect the road. Now tell me, how can this help in the situation that we have? How will this help? Maybe the corporate propaganda unit can come up with an explanation. But how will this help? to make the situation better. No wonder we are where we are in terms of the traffic. No wonder we are wasting money, Evelyn. Waste money, waste our taxpayers' money to do this. Wasting our taxpayers' money to do this. And well, don't let me say this, because the whole thing is that this is rubbish. This tells you of people who have no idea as to how this traffic situation should be treated. They have no clue as to how it should be treated. But I'm gonna leave it up here for a while. Let me hear one if CC want to say anything. He's gonna bring in. CC, do you want to say anything about this atrocity?
Yes, Paul, I must. And I look at it, and I know when Hicken was appointed Commissioner of Police, because this thing say Mr. Clifton Hicken, Commissioner of Police. This is atrocity. This is lawlessness, or this is constitutional lawlessness. Hicken is not the Commissioner of Police. And let me go back for the readers or for listeners who must have missed us out. The appointment of the Commissioner of Police is a presidential one. After the president has consulted with the leader of the opposition and chairman of the Police Service Commission, who had consulted with other members of the Service Commission. It's clear in the Constitution. And there is no consultation for Hicken being appointed Commissioner of Police. For the matter, and I'm talking about Commissioner and Deputy Commissioner. Let me explain a bit. The same thing with the Commissioner, the same thing with Deputy Commissioners. And according to the establishment of the Guyana Police Force, there is need for 4 Deputy Commissioners. Commissioner, Deputy Commissioner Admin, Deputy Commissioner Operation, Deputy Commissioner Crime, and Deputy Commissioner who is in charge of this special branch. We have 1 Deputy Commissioner in Dr. Paul Williams, who the sideline and they get him at a location, checking on floods and checking on drought and other things. And he's the most qualified and experienced of all the other members of the force, Dr. Paul Williams. He's sidelined. Now, you have some men masquerading as commissioner. We hear Deputy Commissioner Budram gone to India. We hear Deputy Commissioner Budram went to Brazil. Who made Budram a Deputy Commissioner? Or even acting Deputy Commissioner? Huh? The Constitution is clear and people masquerading. People signing documents as acting Deputy Commissioner, as acting Deputy Commissioner Admin, as acting Deputy Commissioner Operation, as acting Deputy Commissioner Crime. They're signing documents as that the government referring to them as acting Deputy Commissioner when, according to the Constitution, they have not been appointed. They have not been appointed, and even the press referring to them as acting Deputy Commissioner, and nobody has the balls or the stones to say, hey, don't refer to me as an acting Deputy Commissioner. And the thing is that the president said when he goes overseas, he getting high praise for the work of the commissioners, of the members of the Guyana Police Force. If they're so good, if they're so outstanding, why not make them Deputy Commissioner? I mean, I'm bowling for them. Why not make them Deputy Commissioner? He doesn't have to have agreement, like in the case of the Chancellor and the Chief Justice. Meaningful consultation with the leader of the opposition and the chairman of the Police Service Commission, who would have consulted with other members. Lawlessness going on in the place there. and we staying easy. There is only one deputy commissioner. One. Hicken is an assistant commissioner masquerading as an extended acting deputy commissioner. We need to correct that. We need to show respect for our constitution, constitutional lawlessness, Paul. That is what is happening. And here's it on a billboard. Mr. Clifton Hicken, Commissioner of Police. Where we get it from?
Well, he must have gotten it from this constitutional atrocity that the Attorney General likes to speak about. So we're gonna move. Let me move on. I think you have any closing remarks to make? We are already at an hour and a half.
I just, let's say, I've said enough. I've said enough, and I hope that they correct the situation. This masquerading and this constitutional lawlessness, or to use the Attorney General term, atrocity, it must come to an end. If you want to make them, you have the power to make them a deputy commissioner. You have the power to make them commissioner. Go on and do it.
Yeah, the constitutional atrocity must come to an end. Now, let me say this. I can't stop. I haven't spoken about the Venezuelan issue because that will take up an entire program. We're going to deal with that on Wednesday. But I want to make 2 points in closing. One is that, I get word that these people threatening or talking about threats to Paul Slow. They want to make Paul Slow the next Courtney Cameron. You remember they killed Courtney Cameron in Diamond? A source of mine told me that they were overboard drinking the liquor and saying Paul Slow had to be the next Courtney Cameron, and I was cautioned to be careful and so on. I'm always a careful person. Well, let me tell you something. I'm not afraid of them. I'm not going to take it lightly. So, and people have said, why don't you, have you reported to the police? I ain't reporting nothing to no police. Because all the source of my worry in recent times have been at the hands of the police. When they tried to arrest me in the Jackson Magistrate Court compound, they bring trumped up charges. Police. I'm not reporting to the police. But I could tell you that I've made sure that the correct people are aware of it. Recordings are there, names are called, right? Because I understand one is a partner in a certain law firm in South Road. His name has been provided. The place where they met to discuss this, a regular meeting place, I understand for some of them, has been stated. I have made sure that the people who should know and the ones who I expect will take the appropriate action are aware of what is going on. I'm not afraid. I'm not going to make them cause me to cover and lock off somewhere. No, I'm going to go about my lawful business as usual. I'm always a cautious person, as I've said. I'm always a cautious, and I will continue to be cautious. I am frightened them. What are you to be afraid of? I'm speaking the truth. I am speaking the truth. They get four criminal charges. They started to move. 2 civil lawsuit. I'm going to defend myself. I'm not afraid of that. They try every move to shut me up. Even sometime, I think it's 2021 it was, or 2022, I had spoken about that, where people said that members of the underground were being approached for shut up Paul Slow. I'm not going to be, you can't shut me up. You can't stop me from speaking the truth. And if speaking the truth bothers you, that is on you. That is not on me. And let me, as I try to leave now, let me say this. I've been doing some research. I got some squaddies on the line here. 349, Doreen, Sheila, 351, 9390, Carol, although others are on as well. I realized over the weekend that we had a squad mate. Y'all remember W327 Basmati Dharamlal? Oh, lovely girl she was. Very good company. I want Nigel Dharamlal to tell us what is the relationship, because I didn't put a draw an extra state until recently. somebody told me, and if he's not listening, I know enough of them that's listening. But if he's not listening, with one of the trolls who have been sending to make us out a comment, I would really like to know what is the relationship between W327, she's now deceased, a squad mate of mine, Basmati Dharamlal. She used to be known as Desiree, and Nigel Dharamlal. I really want to know what is the relationship. I'm interested in knowing what the relationship is between Basmati or Desiree and this despicable Nigel Dharamlal. I really want to know because I knew Basmati very well. We trained together in 1974 at the police training college, course 74. Oh, beautiful girl. Dark-skinned Indian, very beautiful girl. And while we were at that, Nigel, when the people tell you, your old-time brother-in-law, the one that was at UG, I think you know what I'm talking about. The one that had a relationship with your sister at UG, say that we should say hello to you. We should say hello. So please, can you tell us? Well, somebody saying that it could be his sister, but I don't think so. Because she was a little older than I was. So she would have been, if she was still alive, she would have been in her early 70s. And I don't know, he must be in the 40s or so. Right now, I don't know what is his age. So I think the relationship, but he can clarify, let us know what was the relationship. W327 Basmati, Desiree, and this miscreant. Let us know what the relationship is. And maybe we can have a conversation thereafter. Once you are honest, and you tell me who she is or was to you, we can have a conversation, man. We can have a conversation. My squad mate, and I know, Doreen, yes, she was known as that too. She was known as that too. That was her name, Desiree. And we used to refer to her as Big South. Big South. She referred to her as that. So let me know what was the relationship. And maybe after that, we can have a conversation. We can talk things out. Oh, beautiful person she was. Beautiful person she was. So, folks, I needed to address those two closing issues. Somebody say I already know the answer. Honestly, the light one, I know the answer. It's only recently I realized that there might be a connection. I know the name, right? I know the name because, as I've said, we trained together in 1974, Coast 74. We trained. She joined on the 15th of February, 1974. We were in the same course, and I came in on the 4th of March, 1974. But a large course. We all trained together. Very large course. Right? So no, I really know. It's only recently I got to recognize that there might be some relationship. Only recently I recognized that. So I would wish to the person. And let me say this further. I almost forget this. You know, I addressed the issue last week with him putting up. You want to know why Paul Slow? If Paul Slow is the same Paul Slow you refer to as a PPNC mouthpiece, charged with fraud and charged with sexual assault. He made all other statements. And some of his supporters have come out online supporting him. Oh, say how the man is convicted for nothing and the girl said nothing and happened. And I am saying this, Nigel, I got to exercise some amount of familiarity now. I am saying this, Nigel, that if it is, as your supporters are saying that nothing took place, make sure that this young girl is charged with giving false information. Because if you're saying that she provided the police with false information, leading to you being arrested, leading to you resigning from your position as Minister of Government and the Parliament, then you should make sure that she's charged for giving false information. Also, if the police don't want to charge you, you should file a civil lawsuit for defamation of character and let it go before the court. Because if you are saying, and if your supporters are saying that this thing never took place, you're going to sit back quiet and allow that to happen? In other words, the allegation was made that you groomed her, you raped her, and you buggered her. And don't be offended by the word. I told you already, that is what the law said. Section 355, I think of 353, something of the section, what I have it here. Section 353 says that, and let me read it back for you, for those of you who are offended by the word. Section 353 says, everyone who commits buggery, either with a human being or with any other living creature, shall be guilty of a felony and liable for imprisonment for life. That is what the section 353 of the laws of Guyana says. So whenever the word is used, please don't be offended. Please, I'm not using it to offend anyone. It is what the law is. So, folks, if it is, not for them come out, oh, nothing can happen, the girl said nothing can happen, the mother said nothing can happen, and all of that, well, then sue her for defamation. Cause the police to charge her for giving false information. Why did you resign from Parliament? Why did you resign as a minister if nothing happened? Allegation is made against me. I know nothing can happen, and therefore I am going to prove that in a court of law. Not to get a DPP to jump in. I am going to prove that in a court, in a competent court of law. And this is where I want to end this morning. But Nigel, please don't disappoint me. Don't disappoint me. Don't disappoint me. I want to know what that relationship was. So please don't disappoint me. Now let me say this as we close this morning. It was good to have you this morning. The sessions are nice. Nice turnout in class. Nice turnout. And I think not at the same level as the Wednesday turnout, but encouraging turnout. And I'm sure the Monday is going to catch on. The Mondays are going to catch on. To tell you, the next program we are scheduled for Wednesday, and as it is now, God's Spare Life will be here on Wednesday to tell you, to bring you news. We're going to address this Venezuelan issue. This thing is burning me up, this Venezuelan issue, and we have other issues to address when we meet on Wednesday. So until then, I invite you to stay good, take care of yourself. You know, all these accidents and so on, we talk about take care of yourself, take care of your loved ones. And on Wednesday at 11 o'clock, we'll be here for next episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Until then, stay well. Bye.